Well, the state's Supreme Judicial Court has quashed an attempt by Karen Read to have charges against her dismissed. She's been accused of second-degree murder, leaving the scene of an accident after death, and manslaughter in the death of John O'Keefe.
Her attorneys tried unsuccessfully to get the state's highest court to drop 2 of those charges, and now there's a path for this case to go to the Supreme Court. We'll talk about that with NBC10 political commentator Sue O'Connell in just a moment. But first, John Maroney kicks off our team coverage live from Dedham with a closer look at today's ruling. John?
Casey, the ruling is not a big surprise, but Karen Read's attorneys say this may not be the end of it.
It's consistent with centuries of Massachusetts law.
An unsuccessful appeal by Karen Read's attorneys to the SJC, hoping to overturn Judge Beverly Cannoni and dismiss the charge of murder.
I don't think there's any surprises here.
Read is accused of killing her boyfriend John O'Keefe with her SUV and leaving him to die in a blizzard. After the mistrial, the defense says a handful of jurors came forward to say they had reached not guilty verdicts regarding second-degree murder and leaving the scene of an accident after death. They apparently did get hung up on the manslaughter charge. Read's attorneys argued before the SJC that trying her on those 2 other charges again would amount to double jeopardy.
It would have been the real exception if the court decided to do something other than allow the 3 charges to go forward.
Judge Cannoni refused to poll the jurors about the verdict as the defense wanted. The SJC agreed, writing, "The trial judge correctly denied the defendant's motion to dismiss and request for a post-trial jury inquiry." The case was remanded to the county court for entry of a judgment denying the defendant's petition for relief. Karen Read's retrial is only a few weeks away, but one of her attorneys isn't ruling out an appeal, saying in a statement, "While we have great respect for the Commonwealth's highest court, double jeopardy is a federal constitutional right. We're strongly considering whether to seek federal habeas relief from what we continue to contend are violations of Ms. Read's federally guaranteed constitutional rights."
Their efforts would be better spent actually getting ready for a trial in April.
Now, both sides, they'll be back in court next week. Karen Read's second trial is set to begin on April 1st. We'll have in Dedham, John Maroney, NBC10 Boston.
John, thank you. Now let's bring in NBC10 courtroom insider Sue O'Connell. Sue, Read's team says that they might pursue that federal path. What would that look like?
Well, the quick answer, JC, is that they can ask a federal court to review if Karen Read's constitutional rights have been violated. This is one of the last steps in the appeal process. If that petition is denied, they could then petition the United States Supreme Court. Now, it's worth noting, as Michael Coyne pointed out, the Supreme Court accepts very few cases, less than 1% of the petitions it receives. They typically only take cases that involve important constitutional issues. If the Read team takes those steps, it would probably delay the April 1st start date of the next trial.
Well, that's my next question, because the appeal to the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court isn't necessarily about her case specifically, right? You mentioned that. What do you mean?
So because the question she was asking the court is an important constitutional issue. It concerns one of our most sacred rights, which is detailed in the 5th Amendment to the United States Constitution. It's the Double Jeopardy Clause. It states that no person shall be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb. And in real English, that means the government can't prosecute or punish someone twice for the same crime if they've been acquitted or convicted. Now, remember, no verdict was delivered. Our state court found that Judge Beverly Cannoni acted appropriately in how she dealt with the jury and the mistrial. But the bigger question would be, does the legal procedure she followed violate the 5th Amendment? So Karen Read and her team are going to have to make that determination if it's worth continuing the challenge or if they should just move on and get to the next trial, JC.
All right, Sue, thank you.
You're
We
welcome.
are your home, of course, for all details on the Karen Read case. Once her retrial gets underway on April 1st, we'll be carrying testimony live every day on our digital streaming platforms, as well as on our sister station, NECN. Then tune in for analysis right here on NBC10 Boston.